Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Afraid Mammoth 5574 from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit, and it says, am I the arsehole for laughing at my stepson and ruining his wedding? And before we do get into this story, I want to give you a trigger warning that there is mentions of miscarriages and stillbirth within the story and stalking as well. So if you do want to skip it, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Thank you. The story starts. Throwaway, shortened for character count. For context, I have been married to my husband for just over 20 years. We started dating when my stepkids were 5 and 3. Our kids are Adam, 28, stepkid number 1, Ben, 26, stepkid number 2, Charles, 20, David, 17, and Ellie, 13. Adam is getting married at the end of summer to his fiancée Alice, 27. We've all been very excited for them. All of the kids have roles for the wedding. Charles is the best man, the other 2 boys are groomsmen, and Ellie is a junior bridesmaid. Last weekend we had a dinner for my husband's birthday. All of the kids attended along with Alice. The topic of the wedding came up again, and this is where it started to go downhill. Ellie brought up that she was so excited to go dress shopping and that we planned to go to a bigger city in a few weeks to get her a dress and me a stepmom of the groom dress. At that, Alice looked at Adam sideways and responded that we only needed to worry about one dress, Ellie's. Ellie kind of laughed and said, "What do you expect Mum to wear? A suit?" Alice responded with, "My name isn't going. You know we're keeping our guest list very limited to only family and a few close friends." What? Adam and Alice have been to our house numerous times for holidays, dinners, just to say hi since they've been engaged. This has never been brought up. Pretty quickly, things escalated. The Cliff Notes version is that Charles asked them to clarify if they were choosing to uninvite me now or if I was never invited. Alice confirmed the latter. Why? Adam said it's because I'm not his mum. Charles, David, and Ellie argued with Adam and Alice that none of them were going to go if I wasn't invited. That it was cruel to leave me out, given I've been his parent for the majority of his life and loved him like my own. My husband and I admittedly sat there for a minute, just fucking shocked. Adam finally turned to my husband and said, "Well?" My husband told him he wouldn't be going either. Adam then turned to me and asked if I was really going to let everyone ruin his wedding on my behalf. Here's where I might be the arsehole. I just laughed. I don't know what came over me, but the entire thing was just so ridiculous that laughing was the only thing I could get out. I told my husband I'd be waiting in the car and left, and then promptly bawled my eyes out. Anyways, Charles, David, and Ellie are not talking to Adam. Adam called my husband yesterday to try and smooth things over. He was still adamant I'm not invited and it's their wedding. He also requested I apologize for laughing at him. My husband told him, tough shit. It's their wedding and they can invite whoever they want. But they can't control who will actually go. He said they owe me an apology and that Adam should be ashamed of himself. I'm getting texts now asking what the fuck I did and why I'm being a step monster and ruining the wedding. Am I the arsehole? Commenter said to OP, I feel like there's a lot missing here. I've been married to his dad since he was 8. That was years of elementary, middle, high school, college, 20 years. Is his mother living? Did his fiancé influence him? Just seems odd to not invite his dad's wife of 20 years and call her not family. I don't think you're the arsehole, but I just want to know more about the past 20 years. OP says I'm sorry. I had to cut out a lot for the character count to post. When Adam called, my husband did ask him if I had done anything. If it was related to bio mum. She has never gotten along with us. If I had overstepped in any way. Adam says no. It's just they want family only. Stepdad is invited as far as we know. I was a stay-at-home mum for most of the stepkids' childhood and we had 50-50. My husband has always worked a lot, but has been as involved as possible. The house and child rearing mostly fell to me though. I love our kids to pieces. I thought we had made it clear from the beginning that I am/was another parent that loves them, not a replacement mum. We've never had any issues, and I thought up until now that we were particularly close. Our communication has slowed since he met Alice, but he was calling me about once or twice a week prior to this. Alice and I have gone shopping on occasion, gotten lunch. I even went with her to the florist for the wedding because her mum wasn't available, and Adam got called into work. There has to be something/someone causing an issue, and my husband and I are baffled. Someone said, is his mum invited? Hoopy says yes. As far as we've heard, stepdad is also invited. We, my husband and I, have never gotten along with mum, but still play nice as we still have 50-50 of younger stepson, Ben. Adam and his mum had a falling out a few years ago, as she was starting to treat him the way she's always treated husband and I. That is, poorly. I don't know how to nicely explain other than she's a narcissist. Adam hasn't wanted to talk about it much and we won't push it. I know they talk and visit still, but how close are they? I have no idea. Someone talks about the custody of Ben at 26, and Opie says yes, he's disabled. He can choose where he's staying as he likes, but mostly sticks to a 50-50 schedule still, unless there is a family event or vacation. He is pretty independent but not able to live on his own. Guardianship is probably a better work for what we have now instead of custody. Commenter says, absolutely not the arsehole. Assuming you and Adam have gotten along fine until now, it's absolutely wild that they wouldn't invite you. Only family and a few close friends. When a step-parent literally counts as family, and the nerve to accuse you of ruining his wedding. I don't blame you for laughing. Opie adds, it's probably also relevant, but my husband's parents are long since deceased. My parents, dad, stepmom and mum, have been very involved with all the kids since they were little. They're also not going if I am not family. They aren't either. My brother and sister-in-law, their daughter, my cousin, they call him uncle, and several other of my family members that have been around since stepkids were little have also dropped. They're up to like 20 people. They have rescinded their yes RSVP for a wedding of maybe 60 people. Commenter says, wait, hold up. Your family was invited but not you. And what the hell did Adam expect when it came out you're not invited? Opie says, that's my family's take. Why are they invited but I'm not? They aren't related to my stepkids by blood either, but are apparently family. To be fair, my family is larger than my husband's, stepdads and biomums. My stepkids were the first grandkids on my side. They were not with biomum and dad's families, and were absolutely spoiled rotten growing up. Charles is now supposed to meet Adam for coffee over the weekend. I've warned him that I truly don't think it's coming from Adam and try to be calm about it. Someone asked for info. They said, what is the nature of your relationship with Adam? Is his mother in the picture? And could his fiancée be in his ear? Opie says, I thought we were particularly close. Besides the normal teenager, I don't have to listen to you BS phase. We have never fought. We've always had him and Ben for 50-50. As a teen and on, he's butted heads with his mother. There have been times over the years where Adam had to come to my husband and I and ask questions from things his mum has said, but we've always been forthcoming with info. Example of that is his mum called me a homewrecker. This upset Adam. Adam came pissed at us, explained that no, biomum and dad were long since broken up, and mum even had a fiance who was not current stepdad when I met dad. Pulled receipts. Adam was upset with mum, flew over and on to the next thing. We still deal with biomum though, and I do have a hard time believing she'd pulled something at this point. Alice and I aren't super close, but thought I had a good relationship. I've always tried to include her. Sometimes she takes up my offer and sometimes she doesn't. I know she sees biomum quite a bit, and that side of Adam's family too. She was raised by her grandparents and does not talk about bio-parents often. Someone says, how did Ben react to this? At this point, I probably would not go to the wedding and would block his and his future wife. They would have to grovel in order to go. They made it clear that they don't see you as family, so you don't need to do anything for them going forward. Opie says Ben was very upset and confused. He's autistic, so what exactly the argument about doesn't quite click. But he's mostly upset Adam says I'm not their parent and his siblings are all fighting. We sat him down since and explained that I love him dearly and will never go anywhere. All of us love Adam and are just hurt, and that he himself can choose to go to the wedding or not. He doesn't have to choose sides and we will still love him if he goes. Honestly, he probably will. He loves cake and dancing. He seems to be doing just fine since. He hasn't asked about Adam, but we'll go to his mum's tomorrow and probably see him there. And then there was just some more info on everyone's relationships. Opie says it was hard to include every bit of context in the post because of the character limit, but I quit my job when Charles was 6 months old. Adam would have been 8, almost 9. No affair. I met my husband when he'd been divorced for over a year. Bio mum was engaged to someone else. If you ask their bio mum, she'll say I've always overstepped. If you ask her how, she'll give examples like, I went to school events. So did stepdad. I helped with homework. I spent too much time with them. She would thank me for loving her kids so much and then turn around and berate my husband for me, loving kids that aren't hers too much. Another example is that in the beginning she wanted to communicate with me directly more. She said she loved the communication and that I was easier to deal with than my husband. Next argument with my husband, she brought up that I was weird and too involved and she shouldn't have to talk to me whatsoever. I haven't talked to her since. Periodically, she has brought up that I was easier to talk to and she doesn't understand why communication just has to go through my husband. After several years of trying to appease her, we quit to focus on keeping our family happy and supported. It's been 23 years now of dealing with her. I've been to therapy multiple times to resolve whatever issue she says I have. It did help with strategies to deal with her. Truly, it's just she has mental issues. Her dad did work a lot. He's always been on nights. It changed slightly over the years, but we had stepkids Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every other Monday. His days off have always fell over those days, so he can spend the max amount of time with them. But usually he worked 1 or 2 of those nights. Very rarely would he work overtime on days we had my stepkids. Usually on days we didn't. We still currently try to do dates on days when Ben is not with us. I hope that makes sense and clears up some questions for you. Someone says, are Alice's parents still together? Has she assumed you're some kind of evil stepmother? Does she have a bad relationship with her stepmom and doesn't want to invite her? Opie says her mum and dad are her grandparents. She hasn't talked about it much with me specifically, but her bio mum is deceased, drugs, and her bio father's in prison. She's talked about it some with my husband, who was adopted by his aunt and uncle. Father is not in the picture and mother died from cancer when she was 4. My stepmom has also talked with her at one point because she too was adopted by her grandparents for similar reasons. It just adds to our confusion. We have such a mix of types of family regardless of blood. My mother-in-law has been laying it on thick that I need to smooth things over because family is family, and I'm the parent, so it's my responsibility to fix it. But fuck, I'm not ready to talk to Adam. Edit, sorry, my mother, lol. My mother-in-law is deceased. And then one more thought from OP, which says, thank you for your thoughtful comment. Adam will always be my first son, whether he thinks of me as his mum or not. I thought we had been pretty clear throughout the years that I love him, regardless of what he thinks of me, and that my involvement extends to whatever he wants of me, and some fair non-negotiables, mostly safety things. Chores his dad agreed on when I asked, that kind of thing. I couldn't get in with my therapist this week, but I do have an appointment next week, and we will try to formulate a well enough thought out response back. I'm certainly not a perfect person or parent, but I won't intentionally sabotage him further. I do love a good revenge story, but that's not it when it comes to my kids. I've talked to the youngest 3 and they've reassured me that it's their choice whether or not they go, and I won't push them on it. I've been reminding them that he's still their brother, and it doesn't sound like him. Mostly for Charles. He's very outspoken and protective. Charles is supposed to meet with him this weekend, and I'm hoping we'll get some clearer answers from that. I just kind of feel for myself that it's like bio mum maybe filling Alice's head with like she's not real family kind of stuff, and then pressuring Adam to exclude OP. You know, part of me is still like, what the hell, I don't really know, but that's what I'm kind of getting it from my perspective at the moment. But about a week later, OP came in with her first update. It said, hi Reddit friends, my update was taken down by Am I the Arsehole for not having a good enough conclusion, but I do have an update. I had to condense it a lot for Am I the Arsehole, but I'm just going to copy and paste it here. Thank you to everyone who responded to my post. Most of you were kind and offered good advice. I appreciate it. Before I give an update, I just want to answer a few frequently asked questions. I'm not an affair partner. My husband did not cheat on his ex-wife with me. We met about a year after they divorced. He was already engaged, not the current stepdad. Not that it really matters. Ben was at the dinner. He's autistic. I went into it more in some of my comments, but he was very upset. He doesn't understand what the argument was exactly about, but he was mostly upset at Adam for saying I'm not their parent, and then at all the siblings for fighting with each other. Anyways, the update. The short is, if you guessed it was related to Biomum, you were correct. I didn't want this to be the case. Adam rescheduled with Charles for Monday, citing Easter weekend. Fair enough. He also texted my husband to let him know that him and Alice would be doing Easter with her parents. We expected that. At some point on Sunday, Ellie texted Alice. I'm not sure what was exactly said, but it prompted Alice to spill everything that was going on with her parents. I've met them a few times, but they live a few hours away. They encouraged her and Adam to reach out to us to clear everything up. Monday, we dropped Ben off to Biomum's. He stayed an extra night for Easter fun. A few hours later, she began to blow up my husband's phone as Ben mentioned the fight. My husband answered one call in which she was screaming and promptly hung up. He texted her that the siblings argued, everything is fine, and that if Ben has any further questions, we'll talk about it when he's back with us. From some of the things she texted, we knew she was the root of all of this. Monday, Adam also met up with Charles, and he did come clean. Charles texted us to see if it was okay, but they come over after and we said yes. I'm not gonna lie, Adam looked a mess. He immediately began crying and apologizing. The short and sweet is that he's been trying to mend bridges with Biomum. Their wedding isn't 60 people, it's blown up to about double that, and they've been struggling to figure out how to pay for it. At one of their visits, Alice let it slip and Biomum jumped to help pay for things. It slowly snowballed from there, from small requests to big requests. I'm not sure what the final nail in the coffin was, but it ended with Biomum requesting I not be there. Adam said it was easier to hurt me and risk World War III with his mum. Alice's parents were less than pleased to find out they'd been with a wedding/budget, and even less so at Biomum's antics. They're trying to figure out how to start covering the payments Biomum has made. We've decided to help with some of this. Adam also asked if we could meet again in a few days with Alice, and we said yes. There's still a lot of ground to cover for this to be close to mended. I'm still hurt, but mostly I'm angry on behalf of my oldest son. So it was around 1.5 months later, OP comes in with what they titled their final update and says, it's been a while, but I have an update. I did post a prior update already, but it was taken down for not a clear enough resolution. Am I the arsehole still won't allow me to update? Something about this post still being a midway point, and that posting an update on my own profile counts as my Am I the Arsehole update. I don't know. So here's the longer, unfiltered version of that update. To catch everyone up real quick, Adam came over to have a convo with us after talking to Charles. He's been reconnecting with his mother over the last year, and she's the real root of everything. It started with small requests as they got closer, then she's paying for things at the wedding, and escalated to me being uninvited. About a week after that, Adam and Alice came over for another convo. Husband and I read through all of your comments and already had a game plan. We explained that while we love them to bits and forgive them, this is still a big fuck up, and they need to hold themselves accountable for 1, the mess with Biomum, and 2, how they treated me. It wasn't just about the dinner. It was also about the months they allowed ex-wife to shit talk me to them. We would not be bailing them out financially for this. I haven't pried into too many details, but Adam had a talk with his mum. She was calm and agreed to everything he said. Suspicious. Mostly that they will not exclude me from future events or tolerate any unkind words about me moving forward. Him and Alice cancelled their wedding. They got back a good portion of their money, mostly to pay back Biomum. When he tried to drop off a check to her, she absolutely lost it. Adam hasn't wanted to talk much about the things that were said, but he has told us they're currently no contact. I won't say the exact date, but Adam and Alice asked us all to meet for dinner. We got there and Alice's parents and siblings were there too. It wasn't just dinner, they eloped. We got to go to the courthouse with them and then celebrate with them after. They seemed so happy. 3 days later, Hubs was at work and I was coming home from errands when I got a very panicked call from Ellie. Ex-wife was outside, pounding on our door and screaming her head off. I gave Ellie instructions and then called 911. I then called my husband. When I got there, ex-wife was already detained. She hadn't broken in but had damaged the outside of our door and the siding surrounding it, and she was still screaming. The stuff she was saying was absolutely vile and most of the reason I haven't wanted to update. It was everything from that she hates me and it's my fault Adam won't talk to her, to stealing my kids from me won't replace the ones you lost. After that comment, I tuned out the rest until she was placed in the back of a cop car. It's important context, but we've had several miscarriages, one of which I know ex-wife knew about. What I really think she was getting at is the baby we had in between David and Ellie, who was full term and stillborn. I still don't understand how anyone could say something so awful and carry so much hate. Putting it out there is hard, and honestly, I don't have much comment on it other than I'm lucky to have the husband I do. Some of the charges we declined to pursue. Some the PD will be pursuing regardless if we ask them to or not. She has already bailed out, but our restraining order has been granted pending a court date with the judge. From the bits and pieces we hear, ex-wife's family has put her on lockdown. Her brother works for the department that arrested her, so this has been quite the talk of the town. We have not heard from her since, and her mother has told my husband we absolutely won't be hearing from her or having any other issues. We've been doing exchanges for Ben with stepdad. Again, as always, this might be just because I've read one too many Reddit stories, but I never think people like that are just going to back down. I mean, she's turned up at your front door, damaging your front door, saying absolutely vile stuff to the point that she's been arrested. Absolutely crazy, unhinged behavior. Sure, you got a restraining order, but it doesn't stop her from doing stuff in the background, you know, causing all sorts of shit. There's all sorts of things that she could do to make your life hell that doesn't directly get in contact with you. And I always find that particularly worrying. And as for the initial laugh, the title of this post, I don't blame OP for laughing at all in that situation. You know, sometimes I get that in real life when someone says something so absurd that you just can't help but laugh in that particular moment. It's just like one of those reactions. But what do you guys make of this situation? What do you think to the conclusion of that? I wonder if she really will give up after this or not, but let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time, it always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.